If it was up to me, I would just not film with this, but my corners are not as neat as I would like. It is what it is. Hi babes, welcome back to my channel. If you don't know me, my name is Ofenze. I am your book bear. Your book bear is here to stay. Your book bear is here with another video. It's been a minute since we've connected, and I just wanted to let you know that I'm still around, I'm still breathing, I'm still on these bookish streets, child. It's just like, yeah, I don't really have much to say with school and work and everything going on. It's just a lot to handle, but I'm back and I'm bigger and better than ever. So with that being said, by now, if you haven't already guessed by the title of this video, we will be reviewing this book, How Did We Get Here by Mpoomy Ledwaba. So it's an autobiography by South African-born businesswoman and content creator Mpoomy Ledwaba. So if you are not familiar with her, that's a little bit about her. A girl's guide to finding herself. It's very much like a wellness journal. So I just want to show you as well as a book and recollection of her life thus far. And at the end of each chapter, it has this page that has a reflection. She asks a few questions based on the chapter, so I guess you could just contextualize as what the exercise is here. Then she asks you the questions here, and then there are lines for you to write down your answers to what you had to say. So I didn't do those exercises in the book. I hate writing in my books. I don't like it. Even highlighting is just a lot for me, so I prefer to do anything if I'm going to take notes or write anything down outside of the book. But yes, do have a look at that and be aware of that. So be ready with your pen and paper or your pen when reading the book. So that's a little bit about the author and the book itself. She was born in 1994, so she is 30 this year. So it's really about her life thus far, everything that it's taken to become who she is, and some of the things that she's dealt with. So some of the themes, and if you'll excuse me, I'm just reading from some of my notes here because it's been a little bit of I haven't been in front of the camera in a minute, so I just want to make sure that I have all my thoughts out and I can articulate everything that's important for me to communicate in this review. Please note that this is a spoiler review. Generally, I say that. I think I've even stopped saying that in some of my videos because I feel like it's just a given at this point that this is going to be a spoiler review. But if you didn't know, now you know. So yeah, the book is written in the first person narrative style. It's non-linear, so it's basically like different recollections based on the theme of the particular chapter. So it's divided into 3 parts, and then each part has chapters based on the theme of that particular part of the book. In the second and third half of the book, it's a lot to do with marriage. So for my married girlies, it's perfect for you just to kind of read and maybe feel seen in some ways, get some ideas on things like conflict resolution in your marriages, how to deal with difficult conversations, and also just enjoying the good times, celebrating, reading another love story and being inspired by another woman's journey to love. And I think that was also quite interesting and powerful. Some of the other themes are wellness, healing, career, motherhood, family, boundary setting, addressing rumors, the sexual assault that she is a survivor of. I mentioned marriage, education as well, and feeling worthy. What is being worthy? What makes a person worthy? How do you validate yourself, and how do you decide that you are worthy in any particular circumstance? And I think persistence and resilience is a big theme in the book as well. Whenever I do a review about people's lives and how they choose to tell their story, I always say in the review that it's difficult for me to really give a review of someone else's story because I wasn't there. This is their lived experience. I don't necessarily know what it feels like to be them and how they lived whatever they lived. So what I give a review of or engage with is the subject matter and how I feel like the story was told. In a sense, do I feel like I know the person? Do I feel like there's an intimacy that's created by the autobiography, and do I feel like I've learned something from the person? So those are some of the things that I look at. Basically, do I feel something? And I guess that's still a little bit of a biased take because you know, if I'm not moved by someone's story, does that invalidate that person's story? Not at all. In fact, I was watching an interview with Kiki Palmer and Club Shay Shay, and she was discussing how she wrote a book at the age of 21. So that opened my eyes, and she's recently written another one, which she was actually promoting on the podcast. I just realized that, you know, you don't have to be a certain age or whatever the case may be to write an autobiography, although I feel like you have to have lived a certain amount of life. And Mpoomy has written her autobiography so early. I think she has a unique opportunity to look back on her writing at a later stage and just interrogate some of the same subject matter and themes that she's covered in this book, and how she views them and what's changed since she's lived a little bit more. So yeah, that's my view before I get carried away. But yeah, did I like the book? The short answer for that question is yes, I did like the book as I continued to read it. So I must say that at the beginning of the book, I felt like it was very light and didn't really like get to like some of the nitty gritties. I feel like there's only so much that you can do in just over 200 pages. I think the book is 209 pages up to the acknowledgements. Yes, 209. At the beginning, yeah, I just wasn't really getting a sense of who she was. I felt like it was still a little bit surface. We were still getting warmed up to what makes her who she is and what makes her tick. But then as we progressed into the story and got to know her more, got to uncover some of the more difficult themes and the more sensitive topics, I found that I got like a little bit of insight into who she is and what makes her who she is, and her journey up until now. More refreshing. I enjoyed that aspect of the book. What I also liked that she dealt with is these hot takes or this controversy that has seemingly followed her in the media. So full disclaimer, she's not necessarily somebody that I have been following or her career trajectory from beginning to end, but in my research and preparing for this review and also reading the book itself, just seen a few things, like taken note of a few things, and I realize now that there was some controversy surrounding her personality, that she's a mean girl, etc, etc. I don't know, I must say that at some point I also was susceptible to believing that, but then after reading the book I had to interrogate that thinking and ask myself, okay, but how do I know? Like, just because somebody is saying that someone is a mean girl doesn't necessarily mean that they're a mean girl. And I'm not invalidating whatever that person said, or the story about the friends that she couldn't make it, she walked away from a friendship with 7 women, blah blah blah. Like, I'm not invalidating those people's experiences because I wasn't there and I don't know what they felt and I don't know what they experienced. But what I am saying is we need to be so careful of the conversations that we identify with online. I think that it's a very fine line between someone saying something and then you just taking it for gospel. Ask yourself, okay, first of all, why would somebody who ended off a friendship with someone not on the greatest of terms have anything good to say about that person? And should you just take what they say as face value, you know? And at the end of the day, it's none of our business, to be honest. I mean, I would hate to be supporting somebody who actually is a mean girl and all these horrible things that they say that she is. But then again, there's a lot that comes with being a successful person. There's a lot of controversy and jealousy that comes with people wanting what you have. So I will say that, yeah, in terms of sharing about her pregnancy, that was a little bit scary for me. Especially when she spoke about her first pregnancy, it made me feel second guess ever wanting to be a mom. I don't know, I guess you can't necessarily know how this thing is going to affect you until it happens to you, but wow, that was a lot. She spoke about how her body changed, and that was very, just, I don't know, I felt her pain, like just the trauma of having to go through all of that. She's pregnant with a third, and then her pregnancy didn't work out. Some of the feelings that she felt around that, the honesty that she mentioned, that she felt relief because that pregnancy didn't go to full term, because she felt like, you know, she's had 2 children and it's taken so much out of her, and she's so happy and so satisfied and blessed with the kids that she has now. So to go on and to have another child was a little bit tricky for her. I like how she spoke about her faith as well. So now I'm talking about the things that I liked. How she spoke about her faith, honest conversations that she had to have about herself, to herself, with her imperfections, some of the healing that's taking place with having honest conversations with her family, and yeah, how she dealt with some of the things. I think what's really apparent is she's always had a very strong support system, which really can take you far, and she attributes a lot of her success to her upbringing and how her parents raised her and always believed in her and had time for her and her goals and invested in her, which I think is so powerful. I think it goes beyond what people can really realize, you know, having been a child myself. Yeah, so in terms of what I didn't like of the book, about the book, I still maintain that I think she wrote the book a little bit early, but like I say, she still has an opportunity to interrogate some of these themes at a later stage. Like I said at the beginning, I felt like the book was lacking a little bit of the gravitas that I wanted from a book, or an autobiography particularly, because an autobiographical writing is quite personal. You are really representing yourself in the best possible way, but still not just giving like a one-sided view of who you are, but also making sure that it's balanced, showing the good, the bad, the ugly, the in-between. So yeah. And then what else? I think the book, it was also quite short. You know what I also think would have been a good opportunity is for her to release the book and then to release an accompanying journal for those of us where we could write, for those of us who don't necessarily like writing in our books, because I know sometimes, like, if you write in your book, the ink ruins the pages. So if you see here, this line is for this reflection here, and then it goes straight on to the next page. So maybe leaving pages in between the text, so if I were to write something, it wouldn't leak onto the next page, because I'd like to keep this book for longer. I would imagine that a lot of the reflections, somebody like here, I think it's better because you would write on this page and then it goes on to more lines here. So but that's just like a nitty-gritty things, you know, subtle things that, you know, can be changed. Or like I said at the beginning, it took a while to get into that, you know, that the essence of who she is, but you know, it is what it is. And then overall, just to summarize this, to end off this review, and if you haven't already, please do remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe this review. Let me know what you're reading and what you thought about the book if you read the book. So I would give the book a 6.5 out of 10 for all the reasons that I've mentioned, particularly because I feel like there's a lot more to be told about who she is and how she's gotten thus far, whether some of those things have happened, whether this was like the right timing for an autobiography, I'm not necessarily sure, but I do know that when you are called to do something by God, you listen. So whether I think it's the right timing or not, big theme in her life that she's seen that she's been called to do by God is to heal. So heal generational curses and also facilitate the healing, and also normalize some of the conversations that need to be had that are difficult, that might not necessarily transpire in our society, that are happening more and more as we grow and learn. Yeah, who am I to say when was the right timing? But from my perspective, that's what I think. And let me know what you thought about the book, and do all the right things, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Bye for now.